I mean, it's been a challenge for law enforcement. You're right in that there is no manual for this that we get in police training. And so chiefs and sheriffs across the country struggling with the same things. We're trying to kind of rewrite a lot of policy on how we interact with the public and when's it necessary to interact with the public. So there's a lot of confusion out there. In fact, we're going to post today a little bit of clarification and some links to those sites where you can actually see the essential and non-essential businesses. People, on a beautiful day like today, people want to get out and exercise. It's perfectly fine. I mean, generally our citizens are doing great. We are seeing an uptick in calls for what we call neighborhood disputes. They're not fights, but arguments, about people that are now home all the time and they're seeing their neighbors all the time. So there's some issues raised, and sometimes we have to go out there and make sense of it, try to calm everybody down. I think we just have to have patience with one another. We have to be compassionate towards our neighbors and our family members and friends. We really haven't seen a great uptick in domestic violence yet. A lot of the numbers are preliminary. We're trying to compare those numbers to last year's numbers at this time and the year before's numbers at this time. We don't have enough data really there. We are seeing an uptick in juvenile-related crime/mischief. Because kids are at home, it's not structured, and they got a lot of time on their hands and they're getting bored. So just encourage parents to try to engage the kids.
So you were also saying that the calls for service have dropped.
Our calls for service are probably down between 30 and 40%. Total calls, and a call for service means when a deputy actually responds out to a house, not a telephone call. Our phone calls coming in are way up because people are asking questions, but our calls to go out in the community, let's face it, there's less traffic on the roads. We are experiencing some less motor vehicle crashes out there. Thankfully, even though the deputies are still patrolling 24/7, still out there looking for aggressive drivers, they're still looking for drunk and drug drivers. That our arrests and drunk driving is down over the last couple of weeks, which is encouraging because people aren't on the roads. I would encourage any of those who contemplate drinking and driving that there's never a good time for that. This is especially not a good time for that, because I can only imagine what's going to happen when they go in front of a judge if they're in violation of the governor's order and out intoxicated during a pandemic.
What do you worry about the most?
I have a big concern. Kids are, I was a coach for many, many years at Easton High School. So kids are always, young people are always at the forefront of our mind. They think they're invincible to begin with. But even our younger children, with the social media aspect going on, all these different apps on phones that kids can engage in. We have had people from other counties, not during the pandemic, but just prior to this, from other counties come down here to prey on kids who they met socially online. We not too long ago, we made an arrest in the county from somebody that was coming across the bridge for sexual solicitation of a minor. And I worry about that. Kids are home. Again, there's no structure. And parents really need to be aware of those apps. And my other concern, besides our youth out there, is obviously the pandemic itself, but is the impacts down the road, the downstream consequences of having so many businesses closed, people unemployed. I've been reading a bunch of studies that have been done in the past, nothing on this magnitude, as unemployment as it relates to crime in the community. So we're trying to think, we're going day to day, but we're trying to think 2, 3, 4 months out what this looks like. I do know that the longer that people are unemployed, the more that there are studies that show the longer people are unemployed, the more substance abuse there is, the more domestic violence there is, the more issues at home with their children there are. I mean, all those things are linked to that, but burglaries, robberies, those types of things. There are some links in these studies that I've seen, and we're just taking a look at that and hoping for the best, preparing for the worst.
Thank you.
Thank you. How are you, sir? Come on.
Good, how are you?
Good.
Got some face masks.
You want to just leave it right there and we'll grab it. Okay. And this is what our citizens are doing.
Yeah.
Delivering face masks and all kind of great stuff to support us. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.